I've got everything sloping at angles. I put my level over here. See how I have to lift it up? See how it's not hitting the bubble? I have to lift it up at this end. Almost a 1/4 inch. More than that, 5/16 and 2 feet. So this water slopes out this way. I've got the same deal here. If not, it's actually more. I've got to screw that down. But see, level, I'm lifting it up at least 3/8. I have to lift this up in order to get that bubble level. So this water's coming down at an angle. Over here, I raised this up at that end. See, it's not level, is it? I got to lift this up for it to be level, and that's about 5/16 or so. Same thing over here. The bubble's off. I have to lift it up to be in there, and I've got 5/16, about 5/16. Before, they had the water just flowing out this way, and you saw how those steps were. They were all water damaged and failed. So see, when this water comes down at an angle to there, then I know at this point I can raise this up and taper this down that way to about there. So when the water is here, it's going to flow, and instead of wrapping around the corner, you can't do that because it would go down in here. The water can't jump up 3/8 of an inch, can it, to then flow out there? So the only way I could do it was to build this area up here and then flow it out that way. So when any water hits here, it's going to go this direction, and then it's going to hit this point, and then it's going to come at this angle, like that. It's still going downhill, right? It's going downhill to right in here, and then it's going to go out. That'll take any water here away from the column, and when the water's coming downhill at this point, instead of the water going straight there, as it hits there, it's going to go out like that. Okay? You see what I mean? That's the only way I could fix this, because I had to have a certain measurement for that 1/2 inch material and then the tile, and that was going to be 2 3/8 of an inch total. Remember, the tile's 1 7/8. The tile is 1 7/8, and the 1/2 inch material underneath with those little dimples, that means 2 3/8 inch to get up underneath this stucco molding. And I made it 2.5 inches. It's hard to get you down there exactly right, but it's about 2.5 inches. And see, they made the stucco trim. They didn't even make it level. When I put my level up on the stucco trim, see, the bubble level is way down. That's level right there. See, which means that they should have raised this end. Had they have raised that end 3/8 of an inch, this thing would have been level at this point, and I could have had the floor level across there, and I could have still had this at the same slope. Okay, and then I wouldn't have had to have filled this area in. But they didn't do it, did they? This one's pretty much level, but this one is way off. It goes way downhill. And so it took me a while to figure all that stuff out, and I decided I don't want the water going this way, because then it's going to puddle up in this corner before somehow finding an area to go out and eventually leak and affect all my stairs. And granted, this little flashing piece here has got little weep holes in it, but I didn't want the water coming down over here and weeping out of those holes and bouncing on down the stairs all the way down, all through the winter. You follow me? So that's why I decided to do it this way, and it's still gonna work. Okay? So that's my whole thought process on sealing up and making this floor watertight before I reinstall these tiles. Now here's one thing to note. Am I a licensed professional roofer, sealer, tile installer, Mr. Know-how on how to make this exactly perfect to match up with this other? No, I am not. This is my layman's way of fixing this. As you could see, if you've been watching all these videos, if you saw the videos at the first, you would know that the guys who installed this must not have been professional at this either, because this thing was so waterlogged and nasty, it all had to be torn out. So apparently they pretty much didn't know what they were doing either, because of around all the corners that were leaking. Every single corner and transition areas on the exterior perimeter were leaking. And so this is my way of thinking on how to fix this. Is there 5 other ways to do this floor? Yeah, probably. This is just my way of doing it. And you know what? When I get done, this thing is not gonna leak. It's not gonna fail like it did before. Mark my words, it's not going to. It's just not gonna do it. And here's another area where I know I have to seal up this way, because this is the exterior stucco. This is the column that goes all the way up. Okay, before they didn't have any seal or anything on there, and the water just flowed right down between this and the subfloor, between this and the floor tiles. Boom, right down through there, leaked it down through there. Got the 2x4, the 2x6 wet. Got the edge of the flooring wet, and that just soaked up as like a sponge. Went around the corner. That's why, and went over this way. That's why this is all still damaged. You should have seen this floor in here. This was all caved in. The 2x6 that was going across here had failed and fallen through. They didn't have any joist hangers on anything. The blocks they had in there were rotted out and falling through and all that. So they didn't seal along there. They also didn't seal along over here. This whole thing here didn't get sealed. So water was going down in there. This whole thing was all dry rotted out here too. Okay, so I've got to, once I fix this and get this flat, I got to get it flat just back to this surface, not the outside of the stucco, because I don't know, the tiles were cut, and the tile has to fit in here and around this corner. So I can't do much about filling this stucco in or anything. I'm just going to fill the surface back and get this all sealed back in there properly. And then I have to do that around this edge too, all the way out to here. Okay, so I've got my work still cut out for me, but at least I don't have to get back down inside the pit. The pit is an afterthought now. That's all done, out of sight, out of mind, but we know what it looks like. We know it looks really super good. I don't have to go up and down the ladder anymore. And now it's all about working on top of this floor. Now, I wasn't really going to show you this part, but I thought, might as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this rubber. This rubber, they went up at least to the bottom of this, and they might have shoved it up a little bit above that. I'm not going to take it all the way back just yet, but I want to get it maybe to there. I'm thinking this plywood is a little damaged under here.